Hello, and thank you for listening to another episode of Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. I'm your host, David Butler, and this is your midweek episode. The Cubs salvaged their series against the Twins yesterday after dropping the first two. Not the series I had expected for sure. In today's episode, we will do a quick recap on the series, preview the last series before the All-Star break, and talk about a few of the players and their successes and their struggles. Remember, the best way to help grow the podcast is to listen to every episode, like the episode, share the episode with your friends, and if you have not yet, make sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Join our Facebook and Instagram groups at Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. The Cubs lose 2 out of 3 to Minnesota, which frankly is quite a surprise. I think a lot of the Cubs fans had their eyes on a possible sweep, let alone not winning 2. I fully expected that we could win 2 of the 3 at least. We did get to see quite a few of their very good bullpen arms, and if Minnesota decides to sell, those are players that could be very valuable to trade for, as well as Willie Castro, who went 2-11 against us but had a home run and a double. He also played really good defense on left and right, and has 51 games in the infield this season as well. For what it's worth, he's also played at least 1 game at center field this season, which means he's capable if need be. Supposedly, that's part of the reason Vidal Brujan is still part of this team. Castro is a much better version of Brujan, in my opinion. Remember, this guy kills lefty pitching as well. On July 11th, as of today, Castro against lefties has an OPS of 857 and a WRC plus of 139. He is the guy we need to play against lefties at third base and against tough righties. The preview for next week, or for the next series, is the Yankees. Friday we start the final series of the first half against the Evil Empire. The Yankees were scuffling a bit and are 4-6 in their last 10, but have rattled off 4 wins in a row against the Mets and then sweeping the Mariners. The Yankees are very good at home with a 29-17 record so far this season. The Cubs are now 25-22 on the road. In order to salvage the road trip and stay at 500, the boys in blue would need to take 2 out of 3 in Yankee Stadium, which may be a tall order. At home, the Yankees have the 4th best offense with runs scored at 5.35 runs per game. They are obviously led by the amazing Aaron Judge, who has an OPS of 1.192 and an RC plus of 218. He's more than double what the league average of 100 is. They have quite a few hitters with OPSs in the mid to high 700s, but they are also led by Jazz Chisholm with an 870 OPS, Trent Grisham with an 829, and Cody Bellinger with an 806. This is a very good offensive team, and our pitching will need to be on their game this weekend. On the pitching side, they have a team ERA of 3.46 at Yankee Stadium, and their starting staff is led by Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, and Will Warren. Unfortunately, all of whom the Cubs will be facing this weekend. Their bullpen has had their share of issues so far this season. Devin Williams is their closer, and his ERA is quite a bit higher than what his FIP is. Their current top setup men in Luke Weaver and Tom Hill have good ERAs, but their FIP is much higher, suggesting they've had some luck as well. For the season at home, the Yankee starters have outperformed their bullpen by half a run, which may not sound like much, but over 93 games, it definitely is. Pitching matchups will be on Friday, Chris Flexen versus Carlos Rodon, Saturday, Matthew Boyd versus Max Fried, and Sunday, Shota Imanaga versus Will Warren. These first 2 games are against some very good left-handed pitching. Since June 1st, the Cubs are in the middle of the pack against lefties, which is slightly encouraging, but middle of the pack is not going to cut it against these 2 starters. Hopefully, Flexen and Boyd are up to the task. I would expect to see Jordan Wicks following Flexen possibly, depending on how deep he can go into the game. Remember, he's still being stretched out, and I'm glad he's finally getting a chance to start. But this is a hell of a first game to start with the Yankees. I would say that the best order of attack, especially against these lefties, would be what they've done in the past with trying to drive up the pitch count. Be patient, see some pitches. Unless you get a pitch that you want and you're looking for right away, by all means, swing the hell on that. But try and get deep into counts, get these guys out of the game. That's going to be the best plan of attack, frankly, in my opinion. So hopefully they can get some of that done. They can get some good swings on these guys, and we can try and turn that tide a little bit. Trade target rumors. I don't have anything significant. I'll go more into detail and more on Sunday with that. But, man, we need third base help, and we need some starting pitching. Speaking of starting pitching, though, I've been pretty hard on Colin Ray and his struggles that he's had in May and June. May and June. He had a very rough May and June. But what he's done the last two starts in July has been very, very awesome. He's gone 13 2/3 innings, almost averaging 7 innings a game, and has an ERA of 1.32. An opponent's batting average of 111, and a whip, walks and hits per inning pitched, at .66. He's still not the long-term answer starting pitcher. I think we all know that. Colin Ray is who he is, but he's a valuable member of the team. He's been integral in key spots at times, and he needs to be acknowledged for that. I've been critical of him over the last few shows, but I wanted to give some props where props were due and overdue, frankly, because I'm not trying to say that Colin Ray sucks. That's not what I mean. I just think on the current team, there's we can get better players for what we need. But I hope that he can end up being still a part of the team throughout the season, because he's earned that. Especially given some of the guys that are currently in the bullpen. I like Jordan Wicks, don't get me wrong. But I would say Ray deserves it more over him, and he certainly deserves it over Ethan Roberts. Why is Ethan Roberts on this team? There's other guys down in the minors right now, bullpen guys, that would have been a much better option. I just don't get it. I don't get why Ethan Roberts was brought up. Maybe it's just to eat some innings. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Matt Shaw and Ian Happ. Let's have a discussion. Okay, it's probably not a discussion, but you guys get what I'm saying. Since June 1st, Matt Shaw is hitting 157 in 119 at-bats. His on-base percentage is .218, and he is slugging .231. That gives an OPS of .450 and a WRC plus 27. The average is 100, folks. There are 90 hitters in all of the major leagues since June 1st with a worse OPS or WRC plus. The most unfortunate part of that is that two of those players who are worse are on our bench, and Vidal Brujan and John Birdie. Shaw is playing excellent defense, which is great, and likely makes him the best option right now. But the Cubs have got to find an upgrade here. Shaw is just outmatched right now in the majors. I think he's got the talent, but he's definitely in his head and overthinking everything right now. As for Ian Happ, in the month of July, he is 2 for 32 with 8 walks. He's gotten 2 hits in 40 plate appearances. His OPS is .344, and his WRC plus is 19. The average is 100 again. I know he is a very streaky player, but even for the season, his OPS is only .696 with an WRC plus of 100. Is Ian Happ considered an average player? I wouldn't think so. And this season, if the season were to end today, this would easily be his worst season. I don't know how much longer it makes sense for him to hit leadoff. I'm not saying take him out of the lineup, any of that, but I don't get why he's still batting leadoff. Perhaps the answer is because who's going to hit leadoff then? PCA would be great there, but then you take away a lot of what he can excel at. Do you really want him running a whole lot in front of Kyle Tucker? What about Nico Horner? His bat-to-ball skills could translate very well there, but he's pretty valuable with that later in the lineup as well. I'll tell you that I think Willie Castro might be a solid fit there. I'm just saying. I don't know if you all noticed. I think Willie Castro should be the number one third base target. Not Suarez. I love Suarez, don't get me wrong. I love what he could possibly do. But I think Castro could move Happ down to the middle lineup, where maybe he might be a little more comfortable. I want to acknowledge PCA. Pete Crow Armstrong is the first player in MLB history to have 25 home runs, 25 stolen bases, and 70 RBIs before the All-Star break. That's pretty darn cool, folks. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to join our Facebook group and our Instagram group at Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. Leave some posts or comments in there about what you'd like to hear or what you thought about today's episode. However you subscribe to your podcast, please like and subscribe to Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy, so that we don't miss out on any of our future episodes. Also, if you feel so inclined, please make sure to leave a 5-star review and leave me some comments. If you are enjoying this podcast, make sure to tell and share it with any of your friends who might be a Cubs or a baseball fan. Have a great day, and let's go Cubs. Paisley, send them home.
Go Cubs, go!
Living on the water, counting days since last summer.